Start day 2. Reasonable night's sleep. But let's go and start this bloody mile-long walk to the breakfast room and hope that we get something reasonable. Not sure this is the perfect start to a day, but easy to ignore the fruit and go for the fries. Let's hope it's the right choice. Well, unless you're staying at the casino and you need a convenient breakfast, like £10 is worth of convenience, so I don't have to go find anything else. But do not have a Hilton Doubletree buffet breakfast. Fuck me, was that bad. If you looked at that and thought it tasted of anything, you were wrong. Tasted a 0. But anyway, what's equally as bad as Grosvenor now picking Coventry for a number of stops is that you're just in fucking Coventry. I know I've mentioned that already, but the only way I can have a walk this morning is to walk around the bloody Rico Arena. It's not even the Rico Arena anymore. The nonsense arena in Coventry. It's just stuck in an industrial estate. I'm gonna have to head over to Tesco's, which is somewhere in that direction shortly, so I don't have to eat dog shit casino food. But you think I was unhappy? I'm really not. Made day 2. Slept okay in the hotel. We've eaten food. I'm not hungover because I'm sticking to Oh dear. Well, we're still in, but not been the best start to the day. It's been desperately slow going to begin with. Just slowly chipping it, blinded away. But thankfully, like, nothing to really even get involved with, so it's just folding. Jammed 10s over a couple of, over a raise and a call, which puts me up some nice chips when I had 20 bigs. And then flopped a set in a hand I'll talk about later, which I feel like I blundered, but I'm trying to get someone to clarify for me. I feel like I left money on the table, but oh well. Either way, it's break time now, so it's time to new tonic up. Hopefully it'll get me some focus. If it doesn't, at least a donut will cheer me up. So okay, so as donut eating Gus mentioned in the car, there wasn't a huge number of hands to go through, so one relatively interesting spot that we can have a look at how I played. So we pick up 6s in middle position at big blind 6k. Got about 140k, so just over 20 bigs. Under the gun opens to 12. I call, don't really see much point in raising 6s here, and the button overcalls. So we go to the flop, which is Queen 10 6. Lovely. So we flop bottom set, which is quite nice. Under the gun checks to us. I think it's a mandatory bet here. First real blunder of the hand. I decided to bet 8k. I think I must have miscalculated the pot here. I think I must have thought it was like 40k and thought like a 20% bet was good. I don't think a 20% bet makes much sense at all, because we're certainly not betting range here. So I think when we have big hands, we should just be betting quite large. The button agrees that it's far too small and decides to make it 40k. Under the gun folds, and I've got about 120k left behind now. So I think here, well, I'll run through what I did. So it's pretty straightforward what I did. 120k left behind. Clearly, I didn't think through this spot properly, which I have a tendency to do playing live poker. Haven't been playing a lot recently, and when I sort of panic in these spots, lean towards aggression, because it's tough to make a huge mistake. So I jam, and the
button tanks for a while and then makes the fold. In hindsight, and to be honest, straight after the hand, I thought this. So if I'd given myself a bit more time to think, which I'm sure a lot of us make this mistake, but I'm definitely not a professional. I'm definitely making this mistake quite often. If I'd given myself more time to think, I would have come to a better conclusion. Hopefully, I think really the button shouldn't have queens. Can have like some tens, but it's very rare. So maybe has like queen 10, which the raise is fine then, but it's gonna have loads of queen x. Can have like a lot of like jack 9, 9 8, king jack type hands. So we're not like there's not a huge amount of equity to deny. So like jamming doesn't achieve a lot because we're certainly when we jam we're gonna fold out a lot of the hands we're ahead of and just get called anytime we're losing. We're really targeting like queen 10 and queen 10 only, which is obviously quite a small part of their range. So I think in hindsight, a call is much, much better. If we call, we're left with like just shy of a pot size bet. So assuming that we don't get horrendous runouts, even if it goes check check on the turn, I can still jam river for a reasonable bet size. So I think the best option is just to call here and hope they carry on bluffing on the turn. Obviously they could get there, but I just think this is sort of one of those quite amateurish mistakes that I have a tendency to make, and it's a bit of a butcher. But what are you going to do? We still take the pot down and we move on. And that was kind of it for those levels. We got to just keep chipping away, but thankfully not too many more mistakes to make. So we'll see where we end up in a few more hours.
Well, somehow 14 left, we're still in. Seen some brutal hands, grinded the short stack for hours, and then finally got a spin. We'll jump through those hands in 2 secs, but just get some fresh air on the break. Starting to feel the pressure now. It's deepest I've been in the tournament in a long time. And we've locked up like 1.6, still 37 for first, so let's hope we can take it down. Fingers crossed. Let's do it. One time. Okay, we're down to the last 3 or 4 tables at this point, Hank. Unfortunately, back down at 140k at 12k big blind. So really back in trouble. Pick up 5s in the small blind. The hijack opens to 25k. It's got about 160, so fairly similar. Obviously, it's a pretty straightforward decision here when it falls to me. We jam, get snap called, which is slightly worrying. We roll the 5s and quite happy to see our man turn over ace king. So we're off to the races. 9-8-4 rainbow, 9 on the turn, looking pretty sweet. And then finally we get the brick on the river, full double up to 300k at 12k big blind. A few hands later, we pick up ace 9 off in early position, open to 24k, still 12k big blind. Folds around to the big blind, who flats. This is the gentleman from the ace king versus 5s hand, so he flats, leaving himself 1 big blind behind. So I'm assuming he has a well thought out, really robust plan coming later in the hand. Flop comes 10-10 deuce, and unsurprisingly, the big blind just flips in his last big blind. Pretty mandatory call here. We call, and we see the good news. He rolls ace 6 off. Assuming that we're just going to chop here a large amount of the time, so don't get too excited until we see a 4 on the turn, and then a 3 on the river for a pretty tough beat to your man. So took a couple of hands, but we got all his chips. Poor guy in the end, but yeah, we're sort of chipping away nicely.
Okay, last hand to review of this mini session. I think we're down to the last 3 tables at this point. So we pick up kings in the small blind. Got about 20 bigs at 16k big blind. Middle position opens to 32. I think with like 20 bigs here. But yeah, obviously when I first started playing back in the day, this was just 20 bigs, just jam. However, I'm trying to learn that there's better ways to do things these days, and trying to get a little bit clever and just click it back. So make it 48k and middle position calls. So go to a flop of 6-6-3. Kind of feel like this is a pretty straightforward situation. Just have huge overpair advantage here, so you can just bet with impunity, I believe. Feel free to blast me in the comments if that's entirely wrong. So we bet just shy of a quarter pot, so bet 30k. Middle position doesn't think for too long and calls. Turn brings the 8 of hearts, bringing the backdoor flush draw. Again, similar to the spot earlier, I really need to work on these. I think this is becoming a recurring theme. I'm left with a pot-sized bet behind, so I decide to jam, and pretty quickly the guy in middle position folds. So we're up to about 550k. So we've now got 35 big blinds. So we've got a pretty healthy stack. However, again, I don't know. This is a similar situation where actually I might have played this okay. I don't know. Is there a better way to play these spots when you've got a hand like kings and you're just crushing the board? So who knows? Anyone who wants to give me free coaching, please hit me up. But yeah, that's it. We sort of just keep grinding away at that level, which hopefully means that next time we join Gus in the casino, he will be telling us that we've got a nice healthy stack at the final table.
Well, that last session didn't go entirely to plan, but we're at the final table. We're probably shortest there. I think we got 9.5 big blinds, so 3.5k locked up, 37k up top. It's time for a big spin, but back on the feature table, so at least we'll have at least one hand to review, if not a few more, hopefully. So yeah, it's time to lock it up. But yeah, last few levels not gone to plan, but we're still in, and
okay, so we join the action at the final table here. Obviously not quite the first hand, but certainly not far off. We pick up ace king off, with now down to 7 big blinds. There was an all in and a call before us. Unfortunately, we didn't get lucky enough for someone to bust in 8th. This folds round to Ant in the cutoff, who has pocket 9s. Doesn't have, well, he's got 700k, so pretty easy decision. He jams over the top. Now it's just a button in the blinds to get out of the way for us. So, and then we can pray for our tournament lives and see if we can get a double up, win a race, and continue playing for 40k. But what we'll do is we will hand over to the boys running the live stream to give us the action.
Well, the king has just got himself a double up, unless if the 9 of clubs comes out. Oh, or a spade.
Running spades.
Oh, and it is the ace of spades on the river. Dirty run out.
What a way to go for Paul. I think you get there with a king on the flop and backdoors the flush, and we lose our first player of the FT, Paul Whitehead, out for £3,435.
what a sick story it would have been if we'd have just managed to bink a tourney on the first vlog. But oh well, what are you gonna do? Still cash for 3.5, which is nice. pretty dejected, and now the worst part of any of these fucking trips, when you don't win, which isn't very fucking often, fun drive home, but drive home, podcast, put some snacks on. Hopefully this fucking storm that's settling in doesn't fuck me over, but I think with the run of hands, we did well to make ninth. Short all day, had a tiny spin and then got short again, so GG. Fucking 4 flash, eh?